Oh, hey, Queen.
Hey.
Welcome back, Matt.
And Matt.
My question tonight is why do we not pay attention to the red flags in relationships? Why do we see these red flags? We know they're red flags, but we always think we are the flag changer.
Easy.
Danny, I'm so happy
It's
you brought this up.
because the other things just look so good and we feel like we can change them. Or maybe it won't last. Like, he's not that stupid. He's not that broke. He gonna go get that job.
Like,
What
I could
happens
be that
later?
superwoman in his
But
life.
that dick was good. So maybe, sometimes the dick
That messes it up too.
I think the average woman treats men like
blinds you
projects.
sometimes.
Wait, say it again,
What did you
Matt.
say, Matt?
I think the average woman treats men like projects.
Yeah,
I agree.
they treat the man like Build-A-Bear.
Like, yo, he has this, that, and this. He's missing bomb, 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 bomb. and I'm gonna instill it all in him. Not as woman.
You saying men don't ignore their red flags?
Oh, I thought we were just talking about women.
Excuse me.
Sure. For sure.
People just do it. It happens. Sometimes we get blinded by the
things.
smallest things, And sometimes we do it. Sometimes we see the red flags, but we want to prove the next person wrong. So we stay in that relationship. They're going to do better. I'm going to show them. Especially if your parents is down your back.
I think it's that. And then love too. Like, sometimes you fall in love, and then sometimes, not even sometimes, your heart controls your mind. Other places control other places. Like, your private part has a good hold on you too.
I can say that a really high percentage of the time, you can meet someone and you're so attracted, you get wet just by this, right? And automatically you knew, like, this person's a smoker. Maybe he can stop. Or, you see that red flag right in your face. Like, that's not something you're going to move forward with yet, and still you do it anyway because you're so blinded by this. Sometimes it doesn't even have to go into I'm in love with you. It's just this.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
But why do we ignore it?
And I think self-esteem plays a part too.
That's true.
A lot of times people, both men and women, they look at someone like, yo, I don't think I'm gonna get better than this person.
Right. They settle.
I don't think that the next person is gonna have these qualities. They're gonna have X, Y, and Z.
You know what I think it is sometimes? You want to be that person who changed that person. Right? So you get with somebody, be like, oh, girl, you with him? Oh, he a dog. And you like, you don't know me, boo. Meanwhile, he cheated on you twice. He had a baby while y'all was together. You see him checking out your mama ass. But you like, no, I got this. And you do everything you can. And it's like you don't want to give up because you feel as though you are that person. So is it love or is it ego?
I think it's both. I also think that a lot of people think, I don't want to be with this person, wait it out, and then the next person steps up and reaps my benefits.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, I've heard that a few times.
But it wasn't your benefits to weep in the first place. Obviously, if it wasn't for you and it wasn't working, it wasn't yours.
Right.
So people are afraid to move on, and it's like, why are we afraid of change? And I think that's what it is. People are afraid of change.
Nobody likes to start over.
Not knowing. Like Shirley said, I don't know what that person is gonna do. None of us is gonna know what the person is gonna do. Even when we're in a long-term relationship, people could wake up the next morning and say, I don't want to be with you anymore. It happens.
Shans, that's what I've heard. Yeah, it's happened from one of my good friends, Gary. He always used to tell me, like, he used to always say, Sheila, I don't care if I'm with someone for 20, 30 years. I still don't really know who they are. You never know who someone is 100%. I don't care what anyone tells you. You don't know someone 100%. I said, okay. And that's something he told me, like, I'm talking about in my, like 20s when he was married and had a child, and then he got divorced, and, and seeing him get married, I was like, wow. But anyways, sorry.
right? So, but it's true though. Even I feel like even in yourself, sometimes you don't know the max to how far you can go because in certain situations you don't know what you're gonna do until you're in that situation. You can say what you're gonna do up until you're in it. You're not gonna know how strong or how weak you really are. So,
and I think it goes back into the conversation we had off camera about the non-negotiables. If you don't know what you're willing to accept and not accept, why move forward with anybody or anything, you know?
So you guys are going to be very proud of me because, so, you know, putting myself out there, talking to people. So I exchanged a number with the guy from one of the apps. So we're talking. So I noticed that he's very busy. Aren't we all busy? So his priorities seem to be more his own priorities, which is fine. So this is the red flag for me. You guys let me know your thoughts here. I'm doing well. Preparing for a next meeting, was caught off guard by the snow. How are things with you? It's like a couple days ago. He said, okay, things are good. Just got in. I said, okay, then. He said, am I bothering you? And I said, why would, in my head, so I saw the text, like, why would he think I'm bothering? Because my answer was so short. So I said, no, I know my response was short. I was getting ready to put my daughter to bed, but am I bothering you? So he never responded. So this is what I said to myself, of course, how I kept, you know, keep it professional. So I said, we both have priorities. Instead of continuing this, we can end whatever this is. Thank you for the prior conversations. Take care and stay safe. Happy holidays. For me, the minute he asked, am I bothering you? To me, that was a red flag. Because where did that come from? Because that kind of, to me, I'm thinking of your personality. So, you know, for me, I said, I'm not going to play myself. I'm not going to entertain it. Because I could have said, what do you mean? How am I bothering you? Like, what are you talking about? So,
I think you jumped the gun.
You ready for this? Look, his response. He said, Grand Rising. He said, and
go with your hearts.
And it said, he said, Grand Rising. He said, and it's fair to agree. Because I already knew, like, the way he was moving, like, what did you want from me? Did you think I was just going to say, oh, let's meet up and, you know, go chill?
But did y'all do all this communication via text?
Yeah. And I kept saying, when are we going to, that's why I already knew, like, that moment he asked me, am I bothering you? I said, we didn't even Zoom or anything yet. How am I even bothering you? Or for you to even ask me that question. So I figured,
on to the next. It's all right.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not going to even waste my time.
Yeah.
Why entertain it?
I'm interested to know what Matt thinks about that.
Oh, well,
he was like,
I've never experienced it that way. And I've used dating apps before.
That's a lot. Nah, just in terms of asking that question, I wouldn't have jumped the gun. It's a simple, nah, you're not. But if you have something in your heart that tells you, like, that's not going to work out, or he's not the person who you want to continue with, I wouldn't even have texted the person in the morning or anything like that. It would have been like, have a good life. Reach out. Because I asked you something the last time and you didn't even respond. So you're not getting
right. Yeah, my friend always says I'm too formal. And I'm like, well,
I wouldn't say too formal because that's a great thing, right?
Very respectful.
But he didn't earn it.
Right.
Like, he didn't earn that, yo, this is not going to work out. Bye. Have a good one.
Just,
you know what?
Just plain devil's advocate, right?
Not long, Danny.
Here we go. She loves this.
Just saying, right? Because, you know, based off the conversation, everybody knows sometimes text messages get misconstrued.
That too.
Based on the text that he sent, it was like, hey, am I bothering you? And if I'm understanding correctly, your response was, no, am I bothering you? But why would you say that to him when he never gave you a reason to?
I was just to repeat his way, because why would you think I'm bothering? So I'm going to just ask you the same question. Am I bothering you?
Why
not?
Feel that way?
Because for him to ask me, there must be something. So I'm like, why let me ask you as well. Am I bothering you for you to ask me, am I bothering
why didn't you
him?
ask that question instead of, am I bothering you? Because you didn't feel like he was bothering you.
Oh.
You didn't feel like you were bothering him. So instead, you could have said, no, you're not bothering me. Why would you ask me that? You get what I'm saying?
I think it just comes down to that point then, that I just was
Can I ask how
really
long you guys were communicating?
Not long at all, maybe
a red flag.
Did he say
now before about 2 weeks?
Me.
2 weeks.
2 weeks meaning every 2-3 days, because he says he goes to Connecticut because he has real property out there. So he travels to Connecticut constantly. He has 2 children, which is fine. But so I'm like, okay, so when are we gonna meet? Like, when do you have time? And when I've asked those questions, he has never responded to those answers.
Oh,
so he's not interested. Maybe he's not interested.
I don't think it's a red flag. I also think that it's not because he's not interested. He could be interested, but remember, it's still he met you off of an app, right? Like maybe he has some things in his head where he's like, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not interested. It should have been like, hey, when can we Zoom call so we can actually see each other face to face and build off.
Why Zoom? When can I hear your voice?
Right, you guys never spoke on the phone?
Yeah, y'all just took it straight to.
I don't like that either.
But to be honest and to be fair, like we're in 2020. Like you can meet somebody and you can go months without hearing their voice. Like,
No.
like it's just how things are. Like
but that's just it. Just because we're in 2020 and they have those options, sometimes people need to bring it back.
No, I totally agree.
I mean,
it's just a force of habit.
Yeah, but looking at it from both. So again, I'm looking at it, just listening to what she said, the message that you read to us, my first thought was the first part. Then the second part was you were doing something, which is why you apologized and said, hey, sorry, was in the getting prepared for this meeting, which is probably why he thought, his feelings, he thought that maybe you were ignoring him or whatever it may be, even though you said that. So it could have been you gaining clarity. Why would you think
he did not know that? He's jumping the gun. That means that you
was, and that's why the question of why did you ask that should have occurred.
Because now I'm annoyed, so I'm gonna ask you the same stupid ass question you just asked me. Am I bothering you?
Why? If you felt it was stupid, then you might as well delete the number.
Why are we even in conversation if you feel like I'm bothering you?
You see, I think it comes down to the
But it's so hard to really understand. It's through text. It's easy for things to get lost in context.
Yeah.
And
so,
I think,
okay, but wait.
Their communication.
What was the red flag? Was it the lack of communication? Is that a red flag for you?
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Because so it wasn't the conversation just am I bothering you? It was the lack of communication that y'all have in the whole 2 weeks.
Right? How am I bothering when we never even speak? Like, what are you asking me?
So this was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
It was stupid. Right? I was like, what are you asking? How am I bothering? We don't even talk.
Okay, so now it's starting to make sense. Okay,
like,
I get it now.
What are you
I thought it was just this conversation. Was that a red flag?
Oh no, right.
Yeah, I thought you guys were in full-blown conversation all the time. Now it's
no, it was just, am I bothering? I'm like, huh? Like, what are you talking about?
Isn't that how it works in the dating apps though? You hear from them every now and then. It's not like a
No, Jojo, the dating app, he asked me for my number. He said, here, text me. So I'm now we exchange numbers. So I'm not even on the app because he said he deleted it. He goes, I don't have the app anymore. I deleted it. So I'm like, oh, well, okay. I still have my app.
That's still pretty vague though. You can't say you deleted it so we could talk.
And I went back to check, and I was like, oh, he really did delete it. It's just like it'll just say like the pic, the person's not there, but the message.
Maybe he found the one in you, Sheila.
Oh, God didn't
You're
say it.
The one.
Okay, so communication is a red flag for you. So do you always pick up on it?